All right, let's not wait for any spiral. Let's get prepared. Let's be ready. I am a law of assumption coach. Welcome to the channel Allison Appreciates. I come by the law of assumption the way of law of attraction. I think as many people in the space do. And of course, law of assumptions spoke to me on a deeper level. So here we are. So this is all about setting up some defaults. Setting up some defaults that you know you can adhere to. Setting up some default thoughts that are go-tos when a spiral threatens to derail your progress, threatens to take you down and make you feel bad, all of that. But if we don't have them in place before a spiral happens, we're going into the oldest part of our brain, freaking out and losing its mind and deciding that this thing that we wanted isn't going to happen for sure. So it's fixing, it's going into what went wrong, it's trying to manage how we're feeling, and by that, I mean, it's like, oh, okay, this is definitely not going to happen, so let's give us lots of reasons why it's not going to happen, so let's be logical about how we're feeling about this thing that we kind of thought we wanted. That's okay, because status quo is better anyway. I feel more comfortable in status quo. I am definitely keeping this body that I am inhabiting alive in status quo, because the unknown, who knows, something bad might happen over there. So status quo is good. So these are all the reasons why this thing that isn't going to happen make me feel fine. And by fine, of course, we feel, it's not fine. It's not a good feeling. But that oldest part of our brain is like, well, no, because I'm going to process and suggest and label all of these worst case scenarios, all of these, well, it wasn't going to work anyways, all of those are going to come bubbling to the surface if we don't do something about it. So, of course, we want to come to this from a place of thanking that oldest part of our brain, because without it, centuries of people that came before us, including our ancestors, would not be here without it. So that oldest part of our brain is an important part of our brain. So we want to thank it. But we don't want to let it rule the show, because that's not how this works anymore. We've made decisions about what we want. And in order to get what we want, we have to be looking towards what we want in a consistent way. We have to be doing some sort of thought flipping technique, some sort of visualization, some sort of nervous system regulation consistently to help us maintain our focus towards what we prefer versus what we no longer prefer. And we preferred it by default because, again, it was part of letting the oldest part of our brain have its way. It was part of the status quo. It was part of no change, therefore the body stays alive. It was part of that old programming. So what do we do to be prepared for the spiral? Saturation of our thoughts is what helps spirals not be able to take control. Because if you are practiced at saturating of those 50,000 thoughts or 70,000 thoughts that we have every day, if you are practiced at saturating as much as possible when you are doing meaningless tasks, if you make sure to make time to robotically affirm or affirm with feeling every single day, you're already putting yourself into a better vantage point to deal with spirals. And I can tell you, from focusing on saturation for the last 3 months very consistently to the last 6 months sporadically, the spirals just don't last as long. They just don't have that room to breathe and to grow and become bigger. So what we want to do is set some intentions that we're going to be aware of how we feel, because without awareness we can't we can't catch a spiral. We can't notice it, right? A lot of people on the planet are walking around feeling really bad because that's their default setting and they don't know any different, right? Maybe they're not informed of this work, or they don't have a higher power in their lives. It doesn't matter. It's a variety of reasons. But because you're here, you know about law of assumption, you know about Neville and Abdullah. Maybe you know about Joseph Murphy, who's another favorite of mine, who also was taught by Abdullah. You know there's a better way. That mind and speech are our two gifts. That the imagination is our playground. It is real. It is the most realest place on earth if we let it be. And to inform us of that, obviously, I think it takes a little more effort to procure a visualization when a spiral is threatening to take over. So that's where your thoughts are the most important key, because as soon as the negative thought wants to suggest a declaration of a broad sense, you know that's not true. The bus is not hurtling towards you, therefore it is not true. If you know my example about that, that's about the good fear, which is going to keep you alive in situations of something dire happening to you and doing something about it. That fear is fine to act upon for sure. But the other one is just that oldest part of our brain reacting, right? That's just the oldest part of our brain not knowing if a threat is real or perceived, but just in case, to be cautious, it's taking everything that's perceived, every perceived threat, it's taking every perceived threat as just as real as if the bus is hurtling towards you. Okay, so I got a little lost. So that's what it would do if left unchecked. So what are we doing with our awareness? What are we doing instead of letting that old program run the show? Well, that's where your defaults come in. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about your deepest desires. I don't care if they've been a long time coming or if they're fresh and they're very new. I want you to take some time and think about some default thoughts around them that imply you already have them. The acting as if. So, no, SP loves me. No, money comes easily to me. No, it's easy for me to maintain my ideal body weight. No, everything is always working out for me. And I guess, if you want to be a stickler, you probably want to take that no out of there too. We know that our subconscious brain only hears the yes. But in that instance, I think it's okay. That being said, we hear the thought, oh, I haven't been contacted in hours and hours and hours. This means I'm being abandoned. No. This means SP is busy doing something for us. This means SP will write me later. If I am married to SP and I haven't heard from them in a few hours, does that mean I'm not going to? No, because I'll see them when they get home. So it's just massaging all of that for yourself, but build the defaults in. Or if you were like me and one of your old SPs, when a behavior that would come to light you didn't like would throw you down a spiral, we're not doing that anymore. So what we do with that information is we default to their best qualities. Because when we think about their best qualities and our attention is on their best qualities, we will get more of that. So, let's say SP stood you up. Okay, in that moment, it's okay to feel the feeling, being annoyed, of course. I mean, you're human. But keep flipping those thoughts. SP would never stand me up. SP would never stand me up. SP is just running late. SP is doing this. SP doing that. Getting ready for the best date we've ever had. Or if they cancel a date, this just means that when we do have our date, it's going to be even more incredible. I know SP is planning to make this date even more incredible. We haven't heard from SP in a few hours. We can say they don't have time to message you right now, but they are wise enough to know that they want the time to put aside to message me properly because I matter to them. And it's important that they have the time and the headspace to respond to me properly because I am their queen or I am their king. So there's those kind of things. So we want to do that. And in terms of, and of course, however it feels best to you, but write them down and have them locked and loaded. I used to go to their best qualities because that felt easiest to like snag right away and to say out loud. So it was all about, oh, they're so creative, they're so kind, they're so attentive, they're so affectionate, they're so loving, they're so smart, they're so interesting, they're so funny, whatever it is, and just kind of have them locked and loaded, because what we give our attention to is what we will get more of. So make sure you're giving more attention to what you want. And this will really help taper off any spiral, because the spiral will try to say, well, this isn't working, so I'm shutting this down, and we're leaving, and we're telling them, we're giving them an ultimatum, we're this, we're that. You know, that oldest part of our brain wants to run the show in that way. That's how it wants to deal with that perceived threat. But you know better now. So with your defaults that you've got staunchly implanted in your conscious mind to teach your subconscious mind about what you want, will be the really good feeling qualities. And they can be general too. So, yeah, SP loves me. No, SP loves me. Oh, this other thing, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on SP loves me. I'm going to focus on, I have lots of money in the bank. What do you mean I'm an overdraft? No, I'm not. I have lots of money in my bank account. My bank account grows every day. I like this one from Joseph Murphy. Day by day, I'm being prospered by all of my interests. So day by day, my bank account grows. Day by day, my bank account, my skills, which are worth money. Day by day, my money, my skills, my investments grow. And when we do that, it's very general, but it helps taper off the spiral. Because believe me, I've been there. The spirals that lasted for days. Thankfully, it's been a long time since that's happened. But even the spirals that have lasted for hours, even as of last year, I had spirals that lasted for hours. But it's just, if you know better, do better. And so once I knew better, I started doing better. And then that becomes a habit. And it becomes a habit to do better because it's easier. It's easier to go to these defaults that feel better, that calm your nervous system, and calm the oldest part of our brain that thinks there's a threat. Pardon me. It takes the pressure off of that oldest part of our brain that thinks that shit is hitting the fan. Pardon my French. And it lets it relax. And then that's the next thing, is just to make sure, hand on heart, I'm safe, I'm relaxed whenever you need it. Or hand on heart, God loves me. The kingdom of heaven is within, and it's our Father's good pleasure to give it to us. I pray as though I have received, because I have. And just luxuriate in that feeling for 30 or 40 seconds, 50 seconds, a minute. And even an expansive breath, right? Even a butterfly tap to practice regulating that nervous system in that moment. And you can use these anytime to feel good. And you can use an expansive breath, or I like a series of expansive breaths because that feels more impactful, anytime you want. So let's not wait for the spiral, right? We're not doing that anymore. Let us build in our defaults. Not only will you feel better, but you will be insulated from future spirals, because I honestly they don't happen for me anymore. And I am your future in that regard. So if I can do it, you can. So I am here to live in the end with you. I see you in your fullest of health with all of your desires. And let's get out there and have an amazing day.